Next up, we're going to hear from Rick. He's going to come up and share his story. Rick, let's give him a round of applause.
I'm a Hope Network success, and I do believe in comebacks. Shelley and I were riding our bicycle last January. It's a tandem, and we were rear-ended by an automobile. Unfortunately, she died in the accident. I was taken to Sparrow Hospital where they patched me up, and I graduated from there. I use the word graduated because to me, I'm moving to the next phase of my life. A discharge just sounds like, we're done with you, goodbye. So, anyway, I was transferred to Mary Free Bed here in Grand Rapids. In my first session with Jody, my speech and language therapist, I felt cocky. I'm going, I can think, I can count to 10, I can add 1 plus 1, I'm good. She came along and she had me starting to do things, repeat stuff back to her. And she hit the 4th or 5th thing, and I go, I need help. I realized I needed help then. I'm an only kid and a Christmas baby to boot. Sharing is not easy for me. So, asking for help and accepting help is a method of sharing, and it was something that I needed to be able to overcome. So, Jody gave me my first tool that I needed for my recovery, asking for and receiving help. Dr. Anderson, the psychologist there, gave me my second tool, a long-term goal. When I was at Sparrow Hospital, I was strapped into the bed, so I didn't move around. I came up with a long-term goal that he said was good, which basically was to be as healthy as I was prior to the accident, realizing that the injuries can create differences. So, and then the third thing I realized is I needed to provide the third one. I needed a positive attitude. The positive attitude helped me through this adventure. I'm still continuing this adventure. These were what I needed for my comeback. It was time to graduate out of Mary Free Bed. 3 places were given. The first 2 places didn't sound good to me. Hope Network Neuro Rehab sounded scary, but I'm going, I'm not really in my right mind, so let's go visit them. That's part of it. I know I need help, and so I visited Hope Network in Grand Rapids, and I was anxious about it. I mean, this was my 4th major change for the year since January. So they told me I was going to have the same doctor that was handling me over at Mary Free Bed, so that helped. There were 3 other things that were major to my being less anxious about being there. One, my next door neighbor, Dr. Frankenstein, which is true, don't laugh. His granddaughter-in-law works for Hope Network. So, this is good. It didn't really mean much to me when she told me she worked there, but it was the way it was. Second thing was one of our church members had been a patient at Hope Network in East Lansing. So, I know how she was doing. So, I had 2 positive experiences with Hope Network before I even got there, if you want to think about that. And then, basically, everybody who works at Hope Network, the staff at Sojourners were wonderful, my therapists, and actually everyone else that works in that building. Whenever they saw me, they had a smile and a hello. That means a lot. So, anyway, my rehab was a 9-to-5 job. I called it a job. And I knew that I needed to accept any help and have a positive attitude to do that. I told my friends and ex-coworkers that visiting hours were after 5 o'clock. They're not over there, but missing a therapy session was not an option that I was willing to take because I, frankly needed help. Uh, okay. A couple of other things. I asked for homework from my speech therapist for the weekends. I mean, think about that. I don't remember any therapist actually telling me no, that I couldn't do something. It was more like, maybe next week. And then they would proceed to tell me why they didn't think I was ready to try what I wanted to do. I mean, that was big to me. They were communicating with me, and it was a good thing. So, like I said, I believe in comebacks. It's Hope Network's motto. It's mine also. The victories, large and small, that I made when they first occur, I mean, are huge. I kind of feel like I'm making an acceptance speech at the Oscars in some respects. I mean, the team that I had over at Hope Network was absolutely fabulous. I know, basically, these are the major team people that I had. I had Lynn, Nancy, Amber, who's over here, Dane, Stacy, Rebecca, Phil, who was an intern who put a lot of time in with me. Suzanne, Stephanie, Sharon, Jennifer, Jana, and Sherry Jo, which is another intern, and she was for speech, and she helped a lot. And then Katie, who's part of the staff over there, keeping my schedule straight for me all the time. So here's some of the comebacks that really were important to me. When I first came to Hope Network, I didn't mention I was in a wheelchair. So I made my bed for the first time. It wasn't neat, but I did it. Cooking in my own room and in the occupational therapy kitchen, it was relaxing to me. Walking in the walker for the first time for Lynn, and then later when we were doing an assessment, walking for 7 minutes in the building to see how far I could go, and then we did a short rest, and I tried it again with just carrying my cane. I walked further, which surprised them, surprised me. You know, it was an accomplishment. Learning to walk up and down stairs again. I've got 17 steps in the house I live in just to get up to the second floor. Meeting people at Reed's Lake and being able to tell them what kind of bird they were looking at. Also walking 5K in less than an hour. That was with my therapeutic recreation therapist. And from speech therapy, Sharon gave me the tools that I'm still using to help talk and remember things and the like. And I use those on the assessments that Dr. Ramirez gave me. So, I mean, I figured I learned it. I can use it. So I didn't realize this talk was going to be about victories in some respects, but my biggest victory was about 4 weeks before I was asked to do this. Over at Hope Network, they have a Aloha picnic, or at least that was the theme of it this year. And I saw one of my co-residents at Sojourners, and I looked at him and I says, "You're looking better. You look relaxed." And he goes, "Yeah." He says, "Do you remember when we had the group therapy session and talked about positive attitudes?" And I go, "Yeah, I do." And he says, "Well, I was kind of negative towards having a positive attitude." And I go, "Yeah, I sort of remember that." And he goes, and he was one of the people that wanted to go home from day one when he got there. You know, that was his goal. He goes, "I listened to you, and then you got to go to your cousin's house for a month, and then you got to go home." He's going, "If that positive attitude worked for you, it should work for me." To me, that was a big victory. It's big for him, but for me, it was great. That something I did worked. I wasn't trying to push it on anybody, but it worked. So, like I said, I'm home now. I've working on routines for every day and making lists to make sure I get them done. I used to be able to read 4 books at a time back from the college days. 4 is almost impossible, 3 is hard, and 2 can be difficult. So, and I'm still bird watching just like I was before. And I don't necessarily remember the bird, but I get to learn a whole bunch of new birds. So, and then next Labor Day, my bicycle club called the Mutts, Michigan United Tandem Society, is hosting Midwest Tandem Rally here in Grand Rapids, and we're expecting 500 tandem teams. So, thank you for listening to me.